Good evening, my name is Mr. Brownie. I'm an assistant head teacher in charge of enterprise here at Fulham Boys School. We're really proud to welcome you to the slightly different open evening today. We're going to hear speeches today from students from year 7, so at the start of their FBS journey, right the way through to year 12, starting with the sixth form and A-levels, and then hear from our head of school, our chair of governors, and our executive head teacher. So I'm going to start with this young man, Theo Johnson, who just joined Fulham Boys School 4 weeks ago. He's told me he's a bit nervous, but he said if you clap really loudly for him and make some noise for him, he won't be nervous and he'll do a wonderful speech for you. So could you put your hands together and hope to say
Evening, ladies, gentlemen and future FBS boys. My name is Theo and I'm in Year 7 Wilberforce, which, by the way, is the best house. So I started at Fulham Boys School around 4 weeks ago. 2 years ago, I was sitting where you are now with my dad and thinking, wow. We had come to visit the school knowing almost nothing about it. By the end of the evening, I knew I wanted to be a Fulham boy. Even though it was 2 years ago, there are 5 things that still stand out in my memory. 1. Behaviour. Fulham Boys is a school of high standards, and that was something I wanted because I wanted to be able to learn without being distracted by other students. 2. The students and staff. On that first trip around the school, everyone seemed happy and excited about learning. It was clear to me that FBS was a community that I could belong in. 3. The Christian ethos. I go to church with my family, and I've come from a Church of England primary school and really enjoyed singing and worshipping with the other students. I also wanted to go to a Christian secondary school because I wanted to be able to study in a place that would share my values and faith. 4. Sport and games. At Fulham Boys, you have at least 6 periods of sport a week. As a sporty person myself, the prospect of doing twice as much sport as many of the other schools I looked at really stood out to me. 5. The co-curricular activities. I was really impressed when I first came to FBS with the wide range of activities. It's a long day at FBS, but I like the sound of all the different options available. I've now been at FBS for 4 weeks. It has not disappointed. The standards of behaviour are high, there are clear boundaries for student behaviour, and the rules are always enforced when those are broken. I haven't managed to get a detention yet, but I know it's going to happen at some point. I'm fine with that, because I know if I do the crime, I'll have to serve the time. On the other hand, FBS also encourages good behaviour. I've won house points for helping others and doing good work. My first impressions that FBS was a happy community have proved to be right. I've already made loads of friends right across the year group, both inside and outside my class. One disappointment is that we can't sing at the moment because of the coronavirus, though if I don't get another house point by the end of the week, my form tutor, Mr. Johns, has threatened to make me stand on my chair and sing a Spice Girls song to the whole class, which I'm sure my peers would like. I think he's joking. Since I arrived, I have joined an orchestra, signed up to learn the guitar, and applied to be a library prefect. My favourite lessons so far are history, English and science, because I'm learning so many new things and the time really flies by. I have to travel a fair way to get to school every day. It takes me over 45 minutes to get here and to get home on the train. I don't mind doing the journey, even at the end of a long day, because I'm sure this is the right place for me to be. Looking to the future, I'm confident that FBS is the right place for me to make great friends, learn a lot and get the grades I need to achieve all my hopes and dreams. I hope to be able to play sports for the school and to make the most of the co-curricular activities available to us. You adults often ask children what they want to do when they grow up. I used to say I wanted to be a dinosaur, but I'm not so sure right now. I hear the pay's not too good. However, I am confident that Fulham Boys will offer me all the opportunities I need to find my path in life and excel in the things I love. Thank you.
Our next speaker, very impressively, just secured all level 9s at his GCSEs. He's just started FBS at our 6th form, so our year 12 student, Armand Denabili.
Good evening. When I got asked to talk to Year 6 parents about what being a Fulham boy meant for me, I had to take a moment to think. I could give you the simple answer that you must have all heard during your tours and that you will hear throughout tonight. Faith, boys, and enterprise. These, of course, are crucial as they are the 3 pillars of the school. However, I want to tell you what it means in practice for a student that has been at FBS for 5 years. Firstly, faith means that I have been shown the Christian worldview and encouraged to think and debate about it every day. Whether in chaplain assemblies or CU, the Christian faith is omnipresent here. This has shaped so many conversations with teachers and even debates with friends during lunch. Simply put, it makes thinking about God fun. Boys means that we're encouraged to be ourselves. We're not forced to fit into a boring, structured way of learning. We're given time to debate in lessons, time for competition, and in the more senior years, free time to do our own research. Textbooks are made a thing of the past and are replaced by laptops assigned to all students and used in most lessons. Thirdly, enterprise, in my eyes, is what makes Fulham Boys School unique. Although defining enterprise can honestly be a bit confusing, after 5 years, I've summarized it into one word: experiences. Firstly, personal experiences. Whether on the sports field, in the debate class, or in university visits in the later years, personal enterprise in the school makes us improve as an individual and be prepared for post-school years. Secondly, social experiences. I remember being given the opportunity to create a charity in the school in which we decided to fight racism locally. We entered a London-wide competition and received 1.5k funding. So if having to manage a £1,500 budget as a 13-year-old is not a statement of social entrepreneurship, I don't know what is. Thirdly, business experiences. This is seen every day at the Fulham Boys School, as we are given a number of leadership opportunities. For my part, I've taken part in countless numbers of student council, teacher interviews, subject-specific meetings, and house meetings. We are encouraged to apply to these positions and have a real impact on shaping FBS into a school which fits all students' DNA. Lastly, I wanted to talk about the teaching at FBS. In my time at the Fulham Boys Schools, teachers have given me the opportunity to debate in nationwide competitions against top schools and go to innumerable amounts of trips. The school offers trips like Reykjavik, the Alps, and so many other destinations. But this, in my eyes, is thanks to the top teaching the school offers, so that us students can get out of the classroom and use our learning in the real world. This really helped me excel in my GCSEs and get top grades due to the fact that I felt engaged in my learning and I was not just reading textbook pages. So, to summarize, what I would say to prospective students is if you want phenomenal experiences and opportunities, but are ready to give your part to the school with 100% commitment in return, look no further. Fulham Boys School is for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Armand. Good evening. My name is Alex Wade. I am the Chairman of Governors here at the Fulham Boys School, and I'm one of the school's founders. It's great to see so many of you tonight, despite the difficult circumstances in which we meet. Now, we welcome everybody to the Fulham Boys School, everybody who is excited about our vision and what we are building here. We are a free school, an independent school which was set up by local parents. Now, why did I want to found a new school? I'm not a teacher. In part, it was because I have 3 sons, all here now, and I wanted them to have an exceptional education to prepare them for life beyond the classroom. An education that I simply didn't believe existed at other local schools, whether state or private. The Fulham Boys School was born because parents like you bought into this vision and committed to supporting an outstanding new school for West London. And this month, we celebrated our 6th birthday, so we now welcome everybody who is willing to help contribute to our continuing success. But FBS is not for everybody. We do things very differently here. We have very distinct views of what secondary education is all about. I'm sorry that you don't have the chance this evening to tour the school and speak directly to staff and boys. If you did, they would tell you that we are more than just a school, and we are pioneering education for boys. Now, this educational plan cannot be delivered without the absolute commitment of parents who are joining the school's community. When I was establishing the school, research told me that parents would give that commitment as long as we were providing something truly special, and I believe that we are. So, what is expected of parents joining FBS? Well, firstly, you need to support our ethos and reinforce it at home, ensuring your sons are clear about our expectations and you take an active interest in your son's learning. Secondly, we need parents to be involved in volunteering to help the school, perhaps active in one of our committees, or the work of the FBS Foundation, supporting FBS friends, or if you run a business, you may want to join our enterprise forum. Those with limited time may be able to offer specialist advice or contacts on occasion. Now, why do we need all this help? Well, it's because we're an independent school. I can't phone the government or the council for help. We do it amongst the school body to provide the best education possible for our boys. And thirdly, we would not be able to provide our educational plan without the financial help from parents who are able to give. Things like our sports programme, small class sizes, our enterprise initiative, our extended day to 5 o'clock, and our commitment to recruit and retain some of this country's finest teachers cannot possibly be paid for by what we get from the public purse. And we rely on the FBS Foundation to fund that. Now, the FBS Foundation has 2 different funds. One is the Capital Fund, which covers quite major infrastructure spend, such as contributing to our permanent site. And secondly, we have the Education Fund, to which all parents are asked to contribute, ensuring we continue to meet the Founder's vision to provide an independent school education for all Fulham boys. And this is not to pay for the nice-to-haves, but it is to enable us to provide the very educational promise that we make to you in our prospectus. Now, usually at open days we have a stand, you can ask about the work of Foundation. We can't do that tonight. But if there's anything you want to know before you apply for the school, do please reach out to me through the school email address. FBS is demanding on our boys, our parents, our staff and our governors, and that is vital if we are to continue to build something special for all in our school and in our community to be really proud of. You've listened to our boys, you're going to listen in a moment to our headmaster, and as you research more about the school, look at the website. I hope many of you will be really excited by what we are doing here. and I look forward to welcoming some of you boys at the school gate in September. Let me now hand over to our Executive Headmaster, Mr. Ebenezer.
Good evening. It's nice to see you all, and thanks for coming out. I know we live in unprecedented times, unusual times, so it's really nice to see you tonight. I'm going to speak for about a quarter of an hour, and as Mr. Wade has said, the Fulham Boys School is a free school, and we embrace that freedom. And we embrace that freedom. We've made a big claim that we want to become one of the very best schools in this country, state or private, in the next 10 years. And to do that, we have built the school on 3 pillars. And those pillars run through everything. Boys, the Christian faith, and enterprise. And they, if you like, they go like a stick of rock, they go through everything, and they create this really tangible culture. It's distinctive. When Ofsted came a few years ago, they described our ethos and our culture as incredible. The Department for Education visited the school last November, and they said that it was beyond exceptional. But it's distinctive. It's not everyone's cup of tea. And so tonight I'm going to talk to you about these 3 pillars, and you might listen to me and think, do you know what, Mr. Ebenezer, it's not for me. I get it. I'm not selling my school to you tonight. I'm just telling you what it's like. And some of you will be excited and enthused and think, wow, I'd run through that brick wall to get into Fulham Boys School. Others of you would say, it's not for me. Because I've never met anyone who thinks the Fulham Boys Schools, yeah, it's all right. You either love it, or you think, no, it's not my cup of tea. So let me tell you about the 3 pillars. Boys, enterprise, and the Christian faith. At the Fulham Boys School, we gear our school towards boys. We believe that boys and girls are different. Now, you can debate me afterwards if you want to. You can disagree with me, but I'm just telling you what we think. We think boys and girls are different. Not better or worse, not superior or inferior, just different. We think the Bible teaches that. We think people who've done research on the brain teach that. We think that any teacher who's taught a boy or a girl would say that, and mums and dads, if you've met a boy or a girl, you know they're different. So, boys' brains, you've got brains, boys, haven't you? You've got brains? Brilliant. Boys' brains develop differently to girls' brains. Okay? So, I'm talking generally, and I'm saying about the average boy, the average girl, but the average 5-year-old girl is far more able to sit down and learn to read and write than the average 5-year-old boy. Some parts of a girl's brain develop rapidly between the age of 6 and 10, whereas in a boy, the same area of the brain grows rapidly after 14. Now what does that mean in practice? It means that many of you boys, maybe some of you sat in front of me tonight, went to school at 5, were asked to do things that your brain wasn't ready to do. But maybe you were given rows because you were being naughty, when actually you were just being a boy. And I would say, and I'm making massive generalizations here now, I would say that girls generally will do things to please. So they'll do neat work and they'll try their best because they've been asked to do it. Whereas boys tend to do things if they can see the value in it. And there's a reason for doing it. Girls, generally, all generalizations, girls generally want to please the adult. They like to make the teacher happy. You boys, and I can see some of you, I can tell, you don't care about that. You care about what your mates think. Okay? And boys tend to be wild and reckless. If you look around the school, maybe some of you looked around last week, boys tend to be wild and reckless, with bags of energy. And that can sometimes be seen as naughty. Sometimes it is naughty, don't forget. But sometimes it's just wild and reckless. And I've said this, I've taught this is the first boys' school I've ever taught in. Every other school I've taught has been mixed. And I have said as a teacher, and I know other teachers said this, boys, why can't you be more like the girls? Now, what's the answer? We think the answer is to set up a school geared towards boys. Because boys with spirit and enterprise, and I'll come to that word in a minute, and bags of potential end up underachieving. And they become lazy and apathetic and disillusioned, and they get into trouble. So we want to set up a school that's geared towards boys. Now, who's ever read Tom Sawyer? Anyone read Tom Sawyer? 3 people have read Tom Sawyer. That's 2 more than the last crowd, alright? So you're more literally in the last crowd. Anyway, Tom Sawyer in many ways is the typical boy, alright? And he had an auntie called Aunt Polly. And Aunt Polly said this to him. Who knows? You may grow up one day to be president, unless they hang you first. The Fulham Boys School is about making Tom Sawyers presidents. Taking that kind of spirit and recklessness and moulding it. Now, how do we do it? Mr. Smith, who I'm going to introduce to you in about 10 minutes, is going to talk to you about the curriculum and how we do that. But we gear our curriculum towards boys. We're a free school, we're not bound by the national curriculum, so we gear our curriculum towards boys. We think, what does an 18-year-old boy need to look like? Then we work backwards. We put a curriculum in place to get into that place. We have class sizes of 24 or less, so we think that's better for boys and they can learn in smaller classrooms. We're an academic boys' school, not because we're academically snobby, but just because we think that's what we can do well. If you want to do something a bit more vocational, then there's other schools which are better than us for that. But we're an academic, we have traditional GCSEs and A-levels, we're an academic boys' school. In the summer, we did very well, and 70% of our boys got at least 5 grade 5s. 3 students, you saw Armand, got all top level 9s, 10 level 9s. And Armand, he was a smoker, he was fighting, he was all up to all sorts when he came. He was turning his life around. Not really. Not really. I realise not really. On camera. Not really. Armand was brilliant. 70% of our boys passed English and maths. 33 boys achieved the top level 9s. So our boys did very, very well in the summer. We do lots for the more able, we push them on. But we also do lots as well for boys with special educational needs. And when Ofsted came, they commented that sometimes the work we do for the special needs boys exceeds that for boys in mainstream. We think literacy is important. Our library is built for boys. We say real men read. And it's a culture. So the culture is it's cool to read. It's cool to go to the library. It's cool to work hard. Our boys debate. We were London debating champions a couple of years ago. Sport plays a massive part in the school. So we've got 4 core sports: rugby, football, cricket, and rowing. And we aim to be the best school at those 4 sports. And we also have a co-curricular program where we have non-core sports like judo and badminton and fencing and volleyball. And the plan is to develop elite sportsmen and teams and athletes, but also for every single boy in the Fulham Boys School to find at least one sport they enjoy and will take through life. Theo mentioned behaviour, and if you've not listened to anything else I've said so far, listen to this bit. Behaviour is very close to my heart. If you ask the boys my 3 favourite words, they will tell you standards, standards, standards. I believe with every fibre of my being that what young men in London need in 2020 is firm discipline and strict boundaries. And so we are all over behaviour, on manners, on how our boys walk through corridors, to and from school. If our boys mess around in the tube, we take that seriously. Their uniform has to be immaculate. Crisp white shirt tucked in, black polished shoes, blazer. We're all over hair, no longer than your collar, no shorter than number 2. And if you Google my name, or Google this school, you will see that I and this school will go to the wire over standards. Standards, standards, standards. Now, we're a boys' school, not a lads' school, so we call our boys gentlemen because that is how we want them to behave. And we think character is more important than anything. I'm saying this on camera, I quite like naughty boys, alright? I think it's good, I think boys being mischievous, great. And I know, as Theo said, you'll probably get a detention pretty soon. Most boys do. I don't mind that. What I care about is their attitude. That they care. When they mess up, they say, I'm sorry. They do the punishment. They don't blame other people. They don't try and say, oh, it wasn't my fault. They just take it. I think character is so, so important. That's the first pillar, boys. Second pillar, more quickly, is enterprise. Now you might think, what does enterprise mean? It's quite an ambiguous word. What is enterprise? Enterprise is we make things happen. Don't just wait for it to come. Anyone who's successful goes to get it. So our boys are resilient, gutsy, brave, work as a team, take risks. They never lie down. They never give up. They never give in. They never know when they're beaten. They just keep going. Enterprise. This school, in its very DNA, is enterprising. 7 years ago, the Fulham Boys School was just me, in an office in Stedford Street with a laptop. Nothing else. And here we are today. 7 years later, about to move to a state-of-the-art building on the Fulham Road. Nearly 800 boys, 89 teachers, excellent GCSE results, a trophy cabinet full of trophies. Why? Because the founders and the staff and the boys and the parents, enterprise, we made it happen. And I think that enterprise is really important. I've got no idea what GCSEs and A-levels are going to look like in the next 10 years. I don't know. But I know the currency of the future is enterprise. The people who are going to make it have to have that can-do, make-it-happen attitude. And we've demonstrated that as a school over COVID-19. We've stayed open throughout. I don't know what's going to happen in the next few weeks. We will remain as open as we possibly can be. We had all our boys in before the summer holidays, because we think it's important. Of course we live in frightening times, but don't sit under the fear. Be brave, be sensible, don't be reckless, but be enterprising, and make things happen. The last thing I want to say to you is that school's built on the Christian faith. And what does that mean? You might think, well, is it all everyone's nice to each other and we're all kind and we say a few prayers? Well, no, not really. What we do is this. The chaps in the back, we expose boys to the claims of Jesus Christ. We tell boys what the Bible says. Sometimes it's countercultural. Goes against what culture thinks. And then we say, we never indoctrinate or say you have to believe this. We say, think about it. Question it. Challenge it. Disagree with it. Walk away with it. Amon said, didn't he, about debates. I think that's brilliant. Mr. Smith, when he came to school, and I stole her off him, he said, we don't want to be tolerant. No one wants to live in a tolerant society. If I went home tonight and said to my wife, do you know what, darling, I really tolerate you. She's not really happy with that. She wants me to love her. And I don't want boys in this school to just tolerate each other. And we dumb everything down so we all sort of, no one is really offended by anything, but no one really cares about anything. It's all a bit insipid and weak. I want to live in a school and send boys out to the world where they fundamentally disagree. They argue and debate and challenge each other. But they shake hands, have food together, play football, best of friends. They love each other. That's the culture, isn't it? That's the side you want to live in. I believe that Fulham Boys School very soon will be classed as one of the best schools in the country. We've had lots of coverage over the last few months on the BBC and the Times and Evening Standard. We're getting there. We will become one of the best in the country. Our results on the sports field, sending boys to the West End, the behaviour and conduct of our boys, we will get there.